shiver. It's exactly the same, only different. Exactly the same in that your body is just trying to adjust to the outside temperature. I think we're going to have fun this afternoon. You look like a highly intellectual group. Well, most of you. That was a good joke. Let me give you a quiz about this photograph. Look very closely. There's one of us in this photograph who has evolved in northern climates for thousands of years and is adapted to the environment. The other one was born and raised in California. Can you see who's adapted and who has not?
The one with the pretty blue eyes.
I was born and raised in California. Please don't hold it against me. I got out of there as quick as I could. I grew up just north of San Francisco in Marin County. As a small boy, I lived 1 block away from a world-famous dog training facility called Guide Dog for the Blind, where they train seeing eye dogs. Then, in school and high school years, my parents moved our family into the hills of Sonoma County. It turned out to be right next door to where Jack London lived when he was alive. I became a huge fan of Jack London's. Jack London State Park is in Sonoma County. I read just about every book he ever wrote about Alaska, the Yukon, and the Gold Rush. And I could not wait to come to Alaska to visit some of the places I had read about in Jack London's stories. So the first chance I had to come to Alaska, 1975, I was 19 years old. And I've been here ever since. Still trying to make enough money to go home.
Good joke.
Not really. I'm pretty much home. I was married for 26 years here in Denali. We raised 3 wonderful daughters. All 3 of the girls went to the closest public school within reach. It is 20 miles away. The school 20 miles away, and one of my jobs as daddy was to drive the kids to the school bus stop, which was 7 miles away. And then the kids would ride the bus for 14 miles to the school. K through 12 school, typical enrollment's around 200. We're pretty excited around here this year because class of 2015 hit double digits. 12. Nice school, but not very big by most people's standards, but very nice facility by just about everybody's standards. Alaska's oil wealth has been wonderful in the school system. My sister raised her family up in California, and she has 3 kids as well. Her kids and our kids became good friends as cousins. Years ago, when the kids were small, I had the hilarious opportunity to overhear one of the nieces try to describe to my daughters what it was. The first time my daughters heard their cousins didn't go to school because it snowed an inch, they didn't believe it. They came in and said, "Dad, what is that? They don't go to school because it snows?" I said, "It's true." And I could only compare it with a cold day because our kids don't go to school when the temperature is 50 degrees below zero. And it happens several days each school year. It's a dry cold, though.
Everything's frozen solid.
It's damn cold. And you know what? There is a good side to living in a cold place. If you like dog mushing, you're better off living in kind of a cold place. And Alaska recognizes dog mushing as its official state sport. I've been in the Iditarod sled dog race 26 times. I've actually been in over 100 sled dog races in 40 years. I have traveled over 150,000 miles in the back of a dog sled in the last 40 years. The Iditarod is just one of hundreds of sled dog races here in the state. Happens to be the one I'm guessing you've heard about. And I'm guessing if you have ever heard of the Iditarod, you've heard there's a woman who won the race. There's no consequence. Oh, we have our fun with verbal sparring in the battle of the sexes. But the fact is, the dogs are the athletes, not us. If this was an athletic event about the mushers, there'd be men's and women's divisions. Like there's in other athletic events. If this was an athletic event for the mushers, I'd be in the seniors division. It's not funny, man. But it's true. I'm 59 years old. I'm clearly not in the prime of my athletic life. But I most certainly am in the prime of my mushing life, and I continue to prove it year after year. The point I'm trying to make is I don't need to be a world-class athlete to be a world-class dog musher. We are animal trainers, animal psychologists. We need veterinarian skills, woodsmanship skills, weather prediction skills. We need to be able to stay awake for 10 days in a row, play chess the whole time. It's exhausting, it's physical, it's demanding, it's certainly not easy, but it's not particularly athletic. Oh, I'm pretty fit for 59, and it pays to be fit, no question about it. But the dogs are the athletes here, not us. Now the Iditarod race begins on the first Saturday of March in downtown Anchorage. It's that way. 1,100 miles up that way is Nome, Alaska. The first one in Nome is the winner. Technically, the Iditarod's a non-stop race. I say technically because, trust me, if you ever run the Iditarod, you're going to want to stop along the way. 1,100 miles on a dog sled, you're going to stop a few times. The deal is the clock that times us does not stop from the moment we leave to the moment we arrive. Every second counts. There'll be more about that in a minute. Let me back up. I'm getting ahead of myself. Before the race ever begins, those of us in the race pack up all the food and gear we could possibly need in the bag like this, and we ship it out to 22 different locations along the route that we'll be traveling. Let's get this part straight. The route that we'll be traveling is the Iditarod Trail. That trail's been there over 100 years. We've only been racing on the Iditarod Trail for 44 years. The trail we're racing on is not there because we're having a race. We're having a race because there's a trail out there. And the checkpoints along that trail, in most cases, are villages inhabited by people year-round. The people who live in these villages don't live there because we're having a silly race each year. They live there because it's their home. Good hunting, good fishing, family heritage, gold mining. Places like Galena, Alaska, along the Iditarod Trail. If you live in Galena, Alaska, and you want to go to Caltech, Alaska to watch your kids play basketball, you get on a snowmobile, you get on the Iditarod Trail, and you drive over there. Because that's how you get there when you live in Galena. That's how the basketball team gets there. All four of them. I shipped out over 2,000 pounds of food and gear for my team alone last year's race. That's a very typical amount of food and gear for one team. Last year there were 70 teams in the race. That's 150,000 pounds of dog food flown out onto the trail, cached along the way before the race ever begins. I want to make sure you understand we are not carrying everything we need to go the whole way in our sled. That's totally unrealistic. Historically, anybody going 1,100 miles in a dog sled would carry a rifle and a box of cartridges. They'd expect to have to hunt along the way. If you're lucky, you might have a pocket full of gold nuggets. You could buy some food at the villages as you went up the trail. We ship our food out before the race begins in these bags. Volunteer pilots are the ones that fly it out there about 2 weeks before the race begins. Other volunteers are going to meet the planes when they arrive in those checkpoints, unload the bags, sort the bags, count the bags, cover the bags with tarps, keep the foxes and the ravens off our stuff. So everything will be safe and sound when we arrive weeks later. 2 or 3 days before the Iditarod race begins, some other volunteers leave anchorage on snowmobiles with 10,000 wooden stakes like this one, dragging along behind the snowmobile. They drive up the Iditarod Trail, putting out 10 stakes per mile for 1,100 miles. You thought I was crazy? These guys are nuts. But they are appreciated by us very much, and they are passionate about what they do. The main point I'm trying to make here is we're not navigating our way across the state. We follow a trail that gets laid out and marked in advance of our departure each year. The fact is, if you want to run the Iditarod for the very first time, you have a very good chance of finding your way in the first try. Navigation will be the least of your problems. Oh, there will be days it snows and blows and blizzards. There are some days those markers are a little harder to find than others, but generally speaking, navigation is not our biggest challenge. Some other volunteers we're very proud of that help put on the race each year. 35 race veterinarians come from all over the world to volunteer their expertise. You know, the race rules require that every dog in this race have a complete physical exam, orthopedic exam, blood chemistry exam, and an EKG before the race even begins. You ever given your dog an EKG? It's not easy. It takes all day to get my team through an EKG program. I'm not joking. 1,100 dogs had EKGs before last year's Iditarod even started. 3/4 of the teams in the race have sled at this time now. Sleds weigh about 50 pounds when they're empty. Loaded and ready to go, they weigh about 150 pounds because there's about 100 pounds of stuff you don't want to send ahead in the bags. You want it on board as you go up the trail. The stuff you want to carry with you as you go up the trail will be things like an axe, snowshoes, repair kit, first aid kit, sleeping bag, fire starter, dry clothes, stuff like that. I'm always going to have this device here. Folks, I can turn ice and snow into boiling water with this contraption using methanol as fuel. Methanol is an alcohol-based fuel, reasonably safe in the world of liquid fuel. Pour fuel in this pot, ice and snow in this pot, I can produce hot water with this thing in a matter of minutes. The single biggest, single heaviest thing I'll carry in my sled will be dog food in this lunch pail. That lunch pail carries about 40 pounds of dog food. The single biggest, single heaviest thing is a big picnic basket full of dog food. And that 40 pounds of dog food means about as much to my dog team as that ridiculous box lunch you get on the wildlife tour is going to mean to you. It's just a snack to hold you over till you get to where you're really going to eat. And my 40 pounds of dog food is just snacks to hold the dogs over till they get to where they're really going to eat. And where my dogs are really going to eat is at these checkpoints, where I have shipped out hundreds of pounds of fresh beef, chicken, lamb, turkey, fish, poultry fat, commercial dry dog food. These dogs are eating machines. They will consume in excess of 10,000 calories every 24 hours during the race. A 50-pound dog, 10,000 calories. Do the math. Okay, the sled's going to weigh about 150 pounds. 50-pound empty sled, 100 pounds of gear food in the sled. I'm another 150 grand total. Musher sledding gear is around 300 pounds. It's starting to sound like a lot of weight if the dogs had to carry it. The dogs don't have to carry anything. They're sliding it on ice and snow on some of the highest tech plastics in the world. The coefficient of friction is very, very low. The fact is, any one of my dogs is capable of pulling a sled with 300-pound load in it all by themselves for hours at a time. I'm not joking. A single dog could pull a 300-pound sled all by themselves for hours at a time. They wouldn't go very fast, but they could do it. It'd be like asking one of these Husky boys here to carry their own luggage around their vacation. You can tell they can do it. They're just not going to go very fast. Folks, I don't ask a single dog to pull the sled. I'm trying to make a point. A single dog could pull the sled, but obviously 2 dogs can pull it faster than 1. 3 can do it faster than 2. 4 can do it faster than 3. 5 faster than 4. 6 faster than 5. Are you with me, ma'am?
Yeah.
It gets tougher. As you keep adding dogs in front of your sled, increasing the size of the team without changing the size of the load that they're pulling, the incremental increase in speed that you gain with the addition of each dog adding gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. It's called the point of diminishing returns. You're going to reach a point where sooner or later you got so many damn dogs hooked in the sled, you're going as fast as they're going to go, whether you got sled behind them or not. There will become a point where adding more dogs to your team will no longer help you go faster. That's where I'm trying to get with you right there. Trust me on this for a minute.
Sure.
By the time you get to 9 or 10 of my dogs hooked to a sled with a 300-pound load and the kind of trail I expect to be driving on, you will have reached the point where more dogs will no longer go faster. Because 9 or 10 dogs will have neutralized the 300-pound load, and you're going to find that adding more dogs just doesn't help you go any faster. I got statistics a foot deep to back me up on this. You could hook 100 dogs to the front of the sled. You will not go faster than you will go with 9 or 10. Of course, you would make it impossible to stop.
And turning would be an issue.
Yes, it would. Folks, if you want to get the most out of your visit with me this afternoon and understand the big picture, you need to let this part soak in and understand it and remember it because it's really, really important. We're going to come back to it. Now, if you were to come to the start of the Iditarod downtown Anchorage on the first Saturday of March, which I highly recommend for your next Alaska vacation, enough of this sissy summer stuff. You ought to be embarrassed, sir. Come here in May. You're so brave. I'm not entirely joking. You put the Iditarod start on your bucket list, I'm willing to bet you'll send me a thank you card for suggesting it. It is one of the most incredible things you will ever witness in your life. Literally thousands and thousands of people come from all over the world to watch start this race. Where over 1,000 dogs, each one wound like a Swiss watch, are assembled in a 4-square city for miles around. Iditarod start day in Anchorage is like a cross between Mardi Gras and running with the bulls. And if you come to the start of the Iditarod, you're going to find 16 dogs hooked in front of my sled. There will be 16 dogs hooked in front of almost every one of the 70 teams that will be in the race. But 16 is a totally arbitrary number that the race rules picked as the maximum number of dogs any team can enter is 16. Race rules picked another totally arbitrary number of 6. That's the minimum size any dog team can be. For a chance, come in case somebody sprains their ankle or gets an upset tummy. We have no bench to draw from. Oh wait, yeah we do. Kinda. If you got more than 9 or 10 dogs hooked to a 300-pound sled, you're bringing the bench with you. It's the only reason you do such a thing. Because every time you add a dog over 9 or 10 to your team size, you do not go faster. You just make the sled harder and harder to hang on to. Hanging on to this sled with 16 dogs moving in front of us is like hanging on to the back of a thunderbolt. It's all you can do to hang on. And I highly recommend that you do hang on because it becomes really clear really quick that the dogs don't give a rip whether you're back there or not.
You just along for the ride.
It's good for a chuckle, but I'm not joking. You don't want to fall off. They are not going to stop and wait for you. They're not. This is not Lassie saving Timmy from the burning building. My dogs expect me to hang on if I'm going to come with them. Don't get me wrong, my dogs love me all right. I walk out there, you see every eye on me. But I believe my dogs love me as much as they do because I'm pretty good at hanging on. I'm usually still with them when they get to wherever they're going. In fact, if you ever get to watch the Iditarod on TV, it's pretty fun to watch my team pull into one of the checkpoints. Because the first thing my dogs do when they get to a checkpoint, you see the whole team stop, they turn around and go, "Oh good, Jeff made it." Because they know I'm the one that takes care of them. I am a caregiver to the dogs. That's my job. That's all the musher's job. I have not won this race 4 times because I'm good at riding the sled. This is the easy part. All you got to do while you're back here is keep them falling off. Lean left and right, keep the sled from crashing the trees that winds its way down the trail behind the team. Once in a while, from back here, I'm going to holler out a verbal command for the dogs, for left or right. Speed control is all done verbally from me to them from right here. If you have any visions of me running alongside this sled, get over that. To have me run alongside the sled to help my team makes about as much sense as asking one of you to run behind the bus back to the hotel whether I'm on board or not. If you ever see me running alongside my sled during the race, which you very well may, there's only one good explanation. It means I'm freezing my tush off and I'm trying to warm up. Folks, it's cold out there. It can be really cold. And I own the finest cold weather gear in the world, and I still get cold. Here's a sample of the gear I'm going to wear right here.
Oh,
I saw a grizzly yesterday like that.
It may be comical, but it's not a joke. This is the outermost layer of gear I will wear during the most severe temperatures I will encounter. And if you don't see me wearing this outfit when you see me during the Iditarod, I guarantee you the outfit is somewhere in the sled waiting to be put on if the temperatures were to plummet. And at 25 below zero and a 20-mile-an-hour wind, I don't care if you're wearing that outfit or not, the cold still keeps me in. And you better be in shape enough to run alongside the sled you warmed up. Once you warm up, you get back on, you ride some more. These days with my new sled design on the trail, you're more likely to catch a musher sitting down than you are to catch one running alongside the sled. But we rarely get a picture in the paper like this. You know, to be totally honest, I'm not sure who that is. I'm going to assume they work for me.
Can he see
And
through
positive
the
they're
thing
hot.
above
Give
him?
them a round of applause. The most important part. The most important part of my job during the Iditarod race does not occur when I'm riding in the back of the sled. It occurs when I'm in front of my sled, and the only time I'm in front of my sled's not moving. I told you this was a non-stop race, but that we stopped. I think you'll be very surprised to learn that I stop almost exactly 50% of the time. I'm talking about the big shots who don't stop very much. 50% is the least anybody's going to stop during the race. That's 12 hours out of every 24 hours of this so-called non-stop race. I'm going to see my dog team sleeping or eating. Now, I don't let them stop for 12 hours in a row and rest 12 hours in a row. It doesn't work like that. You can do it any way you want, but that's not effective. This is how most of us do it most of the time. Most of us are going to divide every 24-hour period into approximately 4 6-hour segments. We're going to let the dogs run about 6 hours at a time. When the dogs are running, I'm riding. They run 6 hours, 10 miles an hour, that's 60 miles. In 60 miles, you're going to hit one of these checkpoints where you shift your food and gear. When you get to where you shift your food and gear, you're going to demand of your dogs that they rest however long they just ran. You are looking for a 1-to-1 ratio of run to rest. I say allow the dogs to run because it's clearly the part they want to do. I say I demand that they rest. 6 hours of running is like trying to get you-know-who to take a nap at 3 in the afternoon. My guess is it isn't always pretty. Sometimes you got to trick them into it because they're tired, but they don't think it sounds like fun. The first thing I do at a checkpoint is anchor the team down to something they can't drag off. When it's nap time, you hook a tree, a stump, a block of ice. Then I'm gonna bust open a bale of straw, put it on the ground, like, it's like their blanket, they start getting the idea. Then I'll fill their belly full of warm food. Rub their feet after running 6 hours, they love that. If all else fails, I read them a story. It was a joke, son. During an average 6-hour break that my dogs take, I work 4.5 of those hours caring for the dogs myself and the equipment. The race rules prohibit me from having any help of any kind, from the moment I leave anchor to the moment I arrive in Nome. This is not a NASCAR race. There's no matching hat tray to run out and change your tires when you pull into pit stop. No, I'm the one that's going to melt ice and snow in this bucket and produce a gallon of water per dog per day. I'm the one that's going to make 10,000 calorie meals for each one of my dogs, put bedding down for them, inspect their feet, put booties on, off, clean up after them, pack their lunch, feed them dinner, give them a rub down. Quite frankly, this job is way more domestic than most people ever dreamed.
If one of the
Could you hang on to your... Well, I'm going to drop... During the 6 hours the dogs are resting, I'm working 4.5. That leaves 90 minutes of the 6 hours that I'm going to allot for me to lay down. Now, I could go indoors for my 90 minutes if I wanted to. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't, because it's usually not worth the trouble. It's trouble because it'll take 5 minutes to walk up to where the indoors is. It'll take 10 minutes to take all the clothes off to make it tolerable to be outside, 10 minutes to walk back, 5 minutes. You're going to blow 30 shivering and cold. It's easier to get up from a nap if you're shivering and cold than if you're warm and toasty. Shake the cobwebs out of your head, run around, take it, chickens won't get back on the sled, the dogs run another 6 hours, I'll ride another 6 hours. Then I'm going to demand they rest 6 more hours, of which I'll work 4.5. 90 minutes, they'll be ready to go again. Then they're going to run 6 hours, I'm going to ride 6 hours. Then they're going to rest 6 hours, I'll work 4.5. 90 minutes, they'll be ready to go again. We do this round the clock, day and night, light or dark. The reason this race is known to be so exhausting is we get very little sleep. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm here on my own free will and I love my job, but I hope it is clear it is not me running to Nome, it is my dogs. But of the 12 hours a day that my dogs are typically not running, they typically sleep 10 of those 12 hours. And they pretty much eat the other 2 that they are not running or sleeping. And I told you I can go just as fast with 9 or 10 dogs as I can 16. I'm starting the race with 16. What I haven't told you yet is I have no intention of taking all 16 dogs the whole way. Race rules allow me to withdraw any dog I want from any one of the 22 checkpoints. If I want to send a dog home, all I got to do is arrive at a checkpoint, identify a dog I want to send home to the race officials, fill out some paperwork, they'll put the dog on a plane, send him back to Anchorage, and my handler picks him up and brings him home. I go on with one less. That dog cannot come back in the event, and he will not be replaced. I can usually tell you I'm running will be the ones going the whole way, and which ones I got a hunch I'll be sending home. I'll be pretty close. Almost always the first dog I send home is a young dog, often, most likely, a young male. Young male, day 3. This year it was Cheddar. He's from the cheese litter. His brother Wiz is really good too. Cheddar made the team this year as a youngster. He knew he got the nod from the big guy to go with the big dogs, but he'd never been